Hey guys, welcome back. It's 6 p.m. election night, November 3rd. I haven't been on in a while. I've been dealing with some different things, but everybody's been asking me, via text or email or whatever, what I think about what's going on in the market. I haven't really been trading much lately. I've been doing a little bit of kind of tidying up my portfolio that was pretty much mostly in cash, but recently I started buying on this latest pullback that we had and just kind of maneuvering some stuff around. But interesting market here. I think most of the selling that anybody was worried about the outcome of the election was already done. Hence the pullback that we had recently. And it's funny because you look at SPY here. We have definitely hit a definitive top on a channel longer term, and you can see the peaks here that I'm looking at. There's two peaks that I'm looking at. Let me see if I can pull this back a little bit. We only need to do 5 year. You can kind of see the two peaks that I'm showing here. Peak 1 and peak 2, and both hitting. It's funny when you look at where we kind of hit recently. If we can kind of zoom in here, you'll see that the peak 1 on the top is definitely lines right up with the recent high that we had in the market, and then peak 2 almost lines up with the bounce from the sell-off into here. So now focusing on this current time frame in here, you can see it's almost funny that you look at this. This is actually a bear wedge that popped into a bull, and we popped out. So we go from the break point there on the bear wedge, and if we can zoom in here, you can see this is where the bear wedge changed direction. So that's our pivot point. And if we zoom in here, you can see the market never closed below that channel line. But there was, in my opinion, a potential to pull back to here. So let's just say the market scenario is that Biden wins the election, the market kind of sells off, and the market always does the opposite of what you think it's going to do. So who the hell knows what's going to happen? But if that was to be a potential scenario, I think we want to buy along this lower channel line here with a break of the 200-day moving average on the exponential, because I think whatever move the market makes is going to be short-lived. And I think you'll have a reversal in the opposite direction. If you get a Trump win, which looks like is probably less likely at this point, who knows, you might get a move up to this upper wedge channel here before a pullback in the market. Interesting, we have not had a 20-50 crossover here. Since the 20 shorter day moving average crossed above the 50, we've had nothing but upside here. We've had a couple close touch and goes. And then right here, another touch and go, but no crossover. So basically the market from the sell-off, and if we zoom in once again, is in a neutral spot right here. Because if we look at a Fibonacci retracement based on the close of the recent high down to the bottom of the recent pullback, you can kind of see if we zoom in right here is where we're at. The market just basically did a Fibonacci 50% retracement from the low point to the high point, or high to low, whatever you want to look at it. 50-50 is the same either way. But look at that. We just fell short of the 50% retracement and kind of fell back down below the 20 and the 50-day exponential moving averages. So the market's kind of in a really neutral spot right here. Now once we clean up all this mess here, I'm going to show you basically it's not the best pattern in the market. We don't want to see the M pattern form because M's can kind of turn ugly. But this pattern that we're seeing right now, here you have a bit of a bear flag, pop to the upside, and then you run. This is another wedge break here, and this is how you start to form your little channel here. Looks like you want to come down and touch this channel here if we don't hold back up above the 20-50, 20-day 50-day moving average. But this same shape that you see here is the exact same shape, almost in a shorter time frame that we saw before. Look at this in here, and we'll zoom in here. What does this look like here? Kind of a bear wedge, pop, and then a little M formation, right? And then a grind higher. I mean, very similar, but if you kind of shorten the duration, you have the exact same profile here. A little gradual move up, pull back, pop it. Sharp move up, pull back, pop it. And then it's almost like if you condense these charts here, these little graphs, and kind of squeeze them, since everything seems to be happening in a quicker rate of time here in this recent market, they're very similar. You know, you have a break to the upside, a little bit of an M pattern with a little drift up, and then a pop. Break of a wedge, a little M pattern with a drift up, and then possibly a grind higher. So we'll see how the market reacts, but very neutral here. At least we are above the 200-day. We are below the 20 and the 50. So there's your M pattern on SPY. Q's kind of the same thing, but the Fibonacci retracement was weaker. If we zoom in on the Q's, you barely get a 38.2% retracement. In fact, actually, it's exactly what we got. So once again, going from high to low on the sell-off. A lot of lines here, guys. Bear with me. 100% retrace, or 100%, 50% retracement from there would put us up at 281.83. We fell well short of that. We got to 276.70-ish area, which was exactly a 38.2% retracement. You can kind of see it right there, right? We can kind of stretch this out. You can see it. TOS doesn't have the best charts, Thinkorswim, and I'm using bar charts for simplicity here. So NASDAQ obviously has had a bigger move to the upside, less bounce on the retrace here with some rotation. In fact, the rotation takes me to the IWM, which has actually been the strongest here because IWM does not have an M pattern here, which is kind of a bearish looking pattern. The IWM, in fact, is almost back up at its high. And if anything, this has a very bullish, almost like a head and shoulders pattern forming. But the neckline is really high here. So above the 20, above the 50. In fact, we tailed the 20 today. And we can kind of zoom in. What's going on here, man? The freaking IWM, the small caps are very strong here. Look at that. We bumped up against the 54 days and then gapped it, jumped over the 20 and the tails on the 20, and now we're higher. Almost at recent all-time highs on IWM. Totally different pattern on IWM. Way stronger than NASDAQ, way stronger than QQQ. I'm sorry, way stronger than SPY. So what's the best case scenario for tomorrow? For me, in my opinion, is the market's kind of in a quote-unquote bubble, in my opinion, based on the ZIRP policies. Zero interest rates are going to keep going on forever. All the liquidity we've seen, climbing the wall of worry. Could it get much worse than COVID? It's got to get better. All the different psychological factors with the Fed being just completely accommodative. All these different things that we've talked about ad nauseum. The best case scenario for me would be, and not to get into politics, but if we had a Biden win, a sell-off to buy. And I'd probably buy TNA. I'd probably buy aggressive on the small caps because we're seeing some weird rotation recently. And I don't know if it's because the small caps just lagged and the market was like unsure, so they felt safe buying into the NASDAQ stocks. But in any case, you got to go with IWM to break its old all-time high here. And it looks like it's set up to do that. At some individual stocks, I think Wayfair would have got slammed today. Look at Wayfair. Wayfair falls into the stay-at-home buy. And every time Shop or Zoom or any of those have reported, they've been smacked on earnings. And I kind of think if the market wasn't super strong today, Wayfair would have got crushed. Great earnings report, $2.30, right? If that's correct. A little bit less than last quarter, but it's seasonal, I guess. I don't look at all the details on that. Channel pivot break, touch there. Nice move, and then we broke it and then got right back above the channel. But kind of a sloppy chart here. This looks like a good short if we get back up to the top of the wedge here. Still below the 20, still below the 50. Kind of feel like it wanted to sell off. Maybe its best days are behind it. I don't know. A little bit of a theme. We do have a 20-50 crossover to the downside. That's a little bit bearish for me. Could have been some short covering. Everybody expecting this to get crashed down just like, Zoom or whatever with earnings reports coming out. Even, even Amazon, I think, got hit. So not my favorite stock here. Might be a play to the downside here on a reversal. That's Wayfair W. Let's look at some other stocks too. They're in the news today. NEO is one that I was trading today. NEO kind of hit a channel, topped it too. I've been looking at, and I kind of think that NEO is kind of moving up, and maybe more to do with a Biden win, and just that EV sector has been pretty strong. And kind of bear with me on my crazy charts here, but it's followed a very definitive lower pattern, which tells me the buying has been very systematic. The selling, not so much. Kind of getting a little bit sporadic on the top here. We hit a few channel tops, and you can see intraday what I was looking for today. And you can see the channel top just about hit there on that one. And you can see what kind of I was looking at right out of the gate. You can see the little break here to the upside, and then a move there. Solar Edge was another one that sold off big on earnings. And I had a Fibonacci retracement that literally kept hitting this Fibonacci channel line here over and over and over. I was trying to determine whether I wanted to buy and hold this. I just did some trades with stops below the 201.90 area, and just kept selling into the pops. You know, selling. I didn't catch that last move because I was not trading. So Solar Edge, I don't know. If we look at it on a 1 year daily, it's literally come down to a channel line right here. See the channel line? And closed just above the channel line. But a huge volume drop, 21 cents a share. I don't know if you extrapolate that. Maybe it's like $1. It's still kind of a rich stock. Not a big fan here, but one to definitely keep on the watch list, keeping this in mind. One that kind of does look interesting is one that I've got a small position in, Fastly, and I just bought it recently. And the reason I like Fastly is more of the theme and the amount of pullback that we've had here. Not my favorite stock fundamentally. I think the price to sales is ridiculous. I was going to say something else, but another one that looks like it could get a little bit of a retracement here, depending on how you do your Fibonacci. Let me remove that there. I'm looking for 71s minimum here, and possibly somewhere around, I don't know, 75, 76 on this. I think that the selling has started to slow down. If you look at the volume here, the volume's come down on the selling. Some buyers stepped in. It did not close below the 200-day moving average. You can see we did break it intraday. If you zoom in here, actually we did get one close slightly below it, but I mean we're right there. And that move from the top has been humongous. This was 136 bucks. So, you know, you basically got cut in half and then some. So these are kind of stuff that I like on my radar. Still kind of in the channel line here for sure. If we can kind of pull that back up, you can kind of see not the best charts of it. One to keep an eye on for sure. I think my target price would be it's going to get back up to that 75 area. But we want to kind of see how the market reacts. So once again, you know, if this, then that. If the market were to dump tomorrow, I would say Fastly would be an interesting stock to buy. I'm looking for stuff that has already pulled back precipitously. Baba also on that list. I was keeping an eye on Baba today. It filled the gap down here at the 280 area. Let me remove this here too. I've been doing a lot of Fibonacci trading lately, but filled this gap on the Ant News, on the IPO. Massive volume. I mean, everybody that was in it, that's like a weekend dump there. You know, I don't know if that's institutional selling. It's pretty decent sized volume, but definitely filled the gap. This will be one to keep an eye on as well. I got to think that if this COVID just keeps going and you get some mutation of this virus and you get a recurrence, and you know, this is going to be the way for shopping. Baba and Amazon are going to continue to outperform. I don't know whether on the market, but fundamentally they're going to be in a fantastic position, I think, over a long period of time. So Baba, I think, is on the buy list for sure. In my opinion, Neo could make an interesting short on a huge move to the upside. Wayfair looking kind of sketchy. Let's see what else there is to look at. Yala has been doing okay lately. YALA. This one we were looking for a pop, and sure enough, I did not sell into that move. I probably should have. So I have a decent sized position in here. Then we came back. Once again, you can see my Fibonacci trading here. So not the best looking chart on hourly, I'm sure, with the big pullback that we saw on the selling from the high on the 5-day 20s. I'm sure you're going to see a real sketchy red candle. And there it is right there. We got the 968, and then it came all the way back down to 860s, which is one of our Fibonacci areas of the 50% from the recent high-low movement. So I don't know. I mean, I like the company fundamentally, so I'm going to hold this one. I'm looking for much higher prices in the future on that. But that's my take on the market here, guys. Best case scenario, I think, would be small caps long on a market sell-off. If the market rallies, I think that it depends on who gets in and causes the rally. If the market just seems to be a relief rally on a Biden move, I think I'll probably look to short the market with some type of a stop. But I think the best case scenario would be a market pullback to kind of give us room to enter into some small caps here because they look super strong.